Hey, welcome back. I might not have too much time today, so this part might actually be kind of reasonable in length, unlike certain previous parts. So we'll see how it goes in the next hour or so. That's probably about how long I have. We're going to send this trade ship over to Iconium to start feeding in production, because I think we can probably use the production a lot more in Iconium than we can in The Hague, which was our previous route. Big concern right now, our immediate concern, is definitely Attila, and the fact that Attila is not currently at war with anyone. So I've decided we're going to send him after the weakest player on the map. Well, I'm not even sure he is the weakest player on the map, but he asked for very little to go to war with Ashurbanipal. So, yeah, we'll give him our horses, and now we hopefully don't have to worry about him for some time. He will go to attack Ashurbanipal, but Assyria does tend to have a fairly okay military, so hopefully that will keep him nice and busy, and not actually enable him to expand his empire. Elsewhere, we're going to send our next spy to, I believe I decided Milan would be the best place, because it's kind of nearby to the Netherlands, so it will at least delay them if they decide to betray us. It's also very near to Poland, and as far as I can tell, just from a quick look around the map, Poland appears to be losing the war to the Netherlands. The Netherlands taking out slowly one of their cities just there, and also weakening Sodon, which I'm assuming is also an ally of Poland. So yeah, it's not looking too good for Poland and Poland's allies, but as long as they don't wipe each other out, as long as they keep each other busy, I'm going to be fairly happy with how all that plays out. By the way, I should also mention I am very bunged up today due to hay fever, so my voice might sound a little bit restricted, I guess. I don't know if that's the right word. Probably not. Anyway, now that we've got that war going, we can actually afford to change production back over here, so let's move it to... I'm going to actually go with the Musicians Guild, because we're going to have some pretty decent growth here, and I think Istanbul we want to focus on other specialists instead, like the Artists Guild, for example, which I think we can now work, and yeah, that doesn't actually affect things too much, so we'll keep working that, and we'll swap this one around. We'll get the National Epic, which I think we might have been working on already, I can't remember, it's been a little while since I last recorded, which is something I often say. And yeah, apart from the fact that we're going into debt, I'm fairly content with that for this turn. I'm also considering maybe getting a research agreement with Attila, because he's probably going to hold out for a bit longer, and that might ever so slightly dissuade him from betraying on us. Casimir wants to declare friendship. This risks annoying the Netherlands, but it makes it less likely that he's going to attack us, so I'm going to begrudgingly go for that. Another thing that's going to annoy the Netherlands is we are about to steal a tech off them in about 5 turns' time, and that's probably going to be my last thing. Oh, perfect. They want friendship too. Okay, so everything's fine. But that stolen tech is probably going to be the last thing I do in this game to deliberately annoy them. And then the Huns, if the Huns do declare on us at some point, I'm hoping we can just up our tech to such an extent that we will actually be able to fend them off. We'll see how it plays out. They're not really that far ahead of us in tech. They're still using frigates and privateers. So if we can actually get a tech lead on them, we should be able to hold them off. Okay, so banning pearls failed. That's great because I didn't actually vote on it. And the embargo on the Netherlands wasn't passed, which is just something we pretty much sold our vote on. So we can build a harbour for +1 happiness. We can actually do quite a lot this turn with our limited production. Or almost unlimited production, we can actually do a hell of a lot. But I'm going to go for the East India Company because we need income pretty badly. And yeah, now that we're playing peaceful, we can kind of just skip through the turns a bit more quickly. So Sidon looks like it's going to go down. But yeah, we can afford to skip through the turns a bit more quickly and hopefully start to round this off more rapidly. She looks so ridiculous when she's annoyed. Everyone is very unhappy with us for making friends with the Netherlands, but frankly, the only 2 players on this map, with the possible exception of the Huns, that are going to wipe me out are going to be Poland and the Netherlands. So, pretty happy to do whatever I need to do to keep them off my back. As privateers moving down here to attack Dutch battleships, surprised they can actually pull that off, as it looks like, to be fair, the one battleship is holding off almost all 3 of them, and we've just spent all of our gold. But hopefully in 4 turns' time, things will start to swing slightly, and we'll have a bit of actual profit to work with. Also have a little bit of iron I can maybe sell. It's going to be only worth about 2 gold per turn, but still. We've got a stock exchange coming in soon at The Hague. So, in theory, should be making money soon, but hard to be sure. Gold per turn to Casimir has ended, but I'm not sure exactly what deal that was, but it's not made too much of a difference to us. Rifling is coming in 3 turns. Yeah, I'm pretty happy just to keep skipping through the turns. She doesn't mind us too much because she also has picked order, as have most of the players on the map. So this is kind of a phase of the game where I'm hoping things will kind of pivot towards playing a little bit more peacefully, because that's really our only chance, of course. Slow reactions from some of the other leaders here. It's only been several years since we adopted that ideology. William has completed the Manhattan Project. That is a slight concern. On the upside though, Utrecht has been damaged by something, so it's not completely one-sided. It does look like Sidon's about to go down, but still holding out for now. A couple of blockades going on too. So that's kind of ideal, as long as it's not a completely one-sided war, and we can just kind of keep these guys fighting each other in perpetuity. That is probably the best outcome we can hope for. As yeah, so he's up to atomic theory, which is not actually that far ahead of us. Like, that's... Obviously, there was also the time we have to factor in for him to actually build the Manhattan Project, but even though we're clearly behind, I'm cautiously optimistic having seen that, so I'm not going to worry too much. Over in this town, we're doing pretty well for happiness for now, so I'm going to go for a windmill instead, and we'll build a zoo later. This worker, there's not too much for him left to do, so we'll sleep him for now, and at some point when we research railways, we can build some of those instead, so won't dismiss him just yet. Otherwise, we'll just end the turn. So the Huns so far have not really moved too much to go after Assyria, from what I can see. Declaration of friendship with Assyria, I think we're going to say no to this. Firstly, we can't really get a research agreement with him. And secondly, I don't want to do anything to potentially tempt the Huns to attack me. I think pretty much everyone has now reacted to the fact that we adopted order. See what the Huns do. Hopefully they'll move off our border soon, but no, they're actually staying put, which is suspicious. But in my experience, they don't tend to attack you if they're attacking someone else. It looked like the Colombo ships attacked the Huns there, but it's possible they were just hit by Dutch ships instead. There is a sea beggar there. There might be a hidden battleship somewhere too. Not too much to do in this town, so we're just going to build a windmill. It's going to help us eventually. Not a great building. I'm not really a big fan of the windmill. The amount of production it costs and what it actually gets you is not amazing, especially at this late stage in the game, but at this stage it probably is better than the other options, so we'll go for it. The Polish settler there, I don't think we have to worry too much about where they decide to settle. We're definitely not going to be expanding any more than we have already. Although The Hague does actually have a workable tile here that's not been improved. And in fact, this is where we should be sending our worker. It's all just production tiles, so we're going to need to feed in food manually through our trade routes. But if we can do that, then The Hague's actually going to have pretty good production late game. Let's work on it. And then we can build a shrine here if we want to. That's an okay option. Other options, Arsenal is tempting, just in case we do get betrayed by Poland. This would be the obvious target for him. Although it doesn't really seem like that's going to happen anytime soon. Hydro plant is 3 maintenance, and it gives us +1 production for every tile next to a river, which would be this tile, this tile, this tile, this tile, and this tile, which is a total of +5 production for 3 maintenance. Probably not worth it, to be honest. I will just go for the arsenal. And we are now back to making profit, so that's great. About to finish the public school in Iconium. And I'm pretty sure we can start upgrading the economic buildings over there too. So, okay, looks like a good stalemate between Poland and the Dutch so far. Keep a close eye on it. Don't think I'm willing to pay this guy for open borders anymore. Turn that down. Can't remember why I did that in the first place. I guess it was when we were scouting the map. which we're pretty much done with now. Sidon has been captured by the Netherlands. Okay. That's going to give them a bad warmonger penalty, which is good, but the downside is probably no one wants to actually attack them. Even if everyone hates the Dutch, no one's going to actually go ahead and attack them because they're just too powerful. So, a potential cause for concern here. They're also attacking Colombo, which I'm currently spying on and hoping to be an ally of. I'm going to steal refrigeration, but that was risky. I couldn't turn it down at that point because we've been doing it for so long, but hopefully that's not going to annoy them too much. We will be leaving now. I have to remember that the first war we had with the Netherlands in this playthrough was when just after we stole a tech from them. So can't be too complacent about that. As here I'm pretty tempted by the windmill, but hospital is going to be more useful in the short term and the long term, frankly. So we'll go for that instead. Maybe follow it up with the windmill, and once our happiness starts to drop, which I think is threatening to happen, we'll get the Colosseum, and then we should also get the Circus Maximus in Istanbul. So yeah, it does very much seem like Poland is losing overall, but did manage to liberate it, to be fair. So some life in him yet. And having thought about it, I think we should actually build the Colosseum in this town, because it only takes 3 turns, and Istanbul doesn't currently have too much to be working on. So it does make sense if we start moving towards the Circus Maximus. It's not time to build the Oxford University just yet. We're going to get that just in time for plastics. And this guy is just going to tuck himself into the town and fortify, and I'm hoping we won't have to use him again. Still worth keeping all our ships around. We are paying upkeep on them, but of course it's only a third of the usual cost, and we're going to need some kind of defense anyway. We can potentially upgrade them at some point if we need them. A couple of privateers coming in here. Still not really sure what's going on with these ships. Would have thought the Huns would try and use them. All a little bit strange and a little bit suspicious, but I think it would be a bit more obvious if he was actually planning to betray us. Okay, Sydney has been captured by the Netherlands and liberated. So that's all fine. They don't like us. I can't remember why. Probably because we stole their land, although that was a long time ago, so might be something else. They desire coal. We could also use coal in The Hague, I think. We're currently dealing with a bit of a penalty to our factory because of that. Not sure where it says. Oh, of course it's one of the specialist buildings. Yeah, let's check this out, because I am curious if it actually tells us anything about that. So, the factory doesn't currently say what the problem is with the coal. It might say up here, but I don't think so. We've lost out on our iron. We're actually in negative iron now, but I'm not too bothered about that. I think that's fine. Let's work one more citizen on the university and one more in the public school, which still enables us to grow just as fast, making an okay amount of money now. And we also have some unemployed citizens over in Iconium, so let's move them onto the public school and the university. Still growing very nicely. Pre-production over in The Hague, so let's go ahead and build a zoo. Doing okay for happiness, and growth does appear to be slowing down a little bit, unfortunately, but still plenty of time to bump that back up. We have got a hospital coming in soon, and Ankara, and Istanbul has slowed down a bit, but we'll see what we can do soon. Okay, I don't care about this. Although we do have to be a little bit concerned about the potential for a cultural victory. It's a good sign that he's producing enough tourism to become influential over us, because we want him to be able to put up some kind of cultural defense against the Netherlands, who I think are currently the culture leaders. In fact, I'm pretty confident they are. Theodora is offering us 3 gold per turn for pearls. We can definitely do a lot better than that, so I'm not going to accept. I'm going to wait till someone else offers something better. But yeah, I'm pretty confident that the lack of iron does just reduce the effectiveness of our frigates, which really doesn't matter too much. Got some free production in Constantinople. I'm pretty tempted just to go for the stadium at this point. It's not massively helpful. Could go for research instead. But I think at some point we are going to need that happiness, so let's just go for it. And then in this town we just have to kill off 1 turn really. Then we have the Colosseum in Iconium, and we can build this Circus Maximus. So let's just go ahead and build a shrine. Very much overdue. And we can use the faith eventually to build great scientists. It's extremely unlikely that that +1 faith from that shrine is going to make a big difference, but you never know. There are lots of buildings being complete this turn. We've got our hospital in Ankara, Colosseum in Iconium, and the shrine. Byzantium has denounced Poland, which seems foolish because she really should not be tempting Poland to attack her. Good for us though, we'd much rather that she's targeted than that we're targeted, although if Poland does take over her towns, that's going to be a problem. We're literally half as weak as Byzantium at this point. But we could probably still hold her off if she actually attacked us. This worker I'm going to keep over here near our capital. This worker we're going to go ahead and put up another mine. Pre-production over in Istanbul, we can put up a temple in one turn, which probably does make sense. Circus Maximus only 3 turns on the other hand, which is also very tempting. That does give us +1 culture. So it's not just the happiness benefits, it's useful for other things as well. So let's go for that. And with the free production in Ankara, I think we're going to get ahead of things and just get a stock exchange now. Before it's needed instead of after it's needed, hopefully. We can build a stable here, which I think I've already considered and decided not to because, yeah, it's just the +1 production, not really worth it. Let's just finish off the hospital. Belgrade has been captured by the Huns, and that's not too far from us. That's a little bit worrying. I'm not sure why exactly that happened. I didn't think they were the allies of Assyria, but I guess it's possible they were. That is kind of bad. That is a pretty easy platform for them to attack us from, and I think if we can get back to making a good amount of money, we're really going to want to set the Netherlands after the Huns. It shouldn't be too difficult in theory. They do have that research agreement, but once that expires, the differing ideology and the warmonger penalties and things like that will hopefully be enough to swing things around. Successfully rigged local elections in Colombo and successfully rigged them in Milan. Not so useful now to capture Colombo as a friend because they don't have Sydney as their captive anymore. So we've got some free production in The Hague, and I think we're just going to go ahead and get an arsenal because this is going to be the first target if the Dutch do decide to come and attack us. Free worker here we're going to put to sleep, and we'll just skip through the turns. I'm probably going to start editing out a lot of the kind of end turns. I will have already edited out a few, but it's getting kind of quiet. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of warring going on, but it's not too relevant to us. So you're very late to acknowledge that, Ashurbanipal. It's not too relevant to us if these two just keep fighting it out, so I'm going to cut out some of the slower bits, I think. Casimir completed the Kremlin ahead of the Dutch, which is good, I think. Does mean they have railroad, which in theory means they can get... I haven't checked if I pronounced it right last time, but Neuschwanstein. In theory they can get that. In practice the AI doesn't tend to go for it, so I feel pretty confident that if we go immediately for railroad, once we have plastics, we should be okay. So I think replaceable parts is not the immediate precursor to plastics, but I think we're getting close to it now. So done searches for science. I think at this point we could be catching up a little bit. We do have an extra great scientist here, and I think we are just about far back enough that we can still justify building an academy, so let's go for that. Great writer we're going to keep around, I think. We can actually get a new social policy if we spend them all now. So if we go plus 625 culture with this, that gets us a new polity next turn. And then we can build the Oxford University in 4 turns. If we get replaceable parts, the next tech is indeed plastics, so it's time to get the Oxford University. This guy, now that we've already got a new social policy coming in, we can afford to wait with him. And then we've got a free cargo ship here, which I feel like growth has slowed down a little bit in some towns. Iconium is still growing, and frankly doesn't have that much of a use for the extra citizens at this point, so what I'll probably do is I'll send this over to somewhere like The Hague instead, and we'll start feeding some food into Istanbul. Casimir's made peace with William. Happened sooner than I would have liked. In fact, much sooner than I would have liked. There wasn't too much damage done on either side, but we're going to need to make sure they keep fighting someone, if not us. He wants open borders. I wonder if instead of just going for this, we could give him open borders, but let's also see if we can tempt him to go to war with the Huns. Okay, we can actually do it. So we just need to give him open borders, a bit of gold per turn. I do have pearls free, so instead of giving him the gold, we're going to give him the pearls. And I'm assuming he's going to say yes to this. I might even try and ask for a bit of gold back. Let's try 60. You'd think he'd accept since he does have 20k in the bank, but we will see. Does go for it, good. So he's now at war with the Huns, hopefully we'll deal with him. Still need to set Poland on someone else though. That's going to be quite important. I'm not sure who we should go for, maybe the Celts, because the Celts should be able to hold him off at least a little bit. We're going to swap our pearls for... Not sure if either of these are related to a Wheel of the King Day, but let's just go for salt. And our immediate priority for next turn is going to be to send Poland after someone else. Okay, we've got another great artist in Istanbul. We're kind of just going to stock these up because they're going to be most useful just for the Golden Age production boost in the very, very late game. So we're just going to park him over at the stables, where he will gain great inspiration from the various horses and things. Cargo ship here is our new arrival, and we can send food to Istanbul, so let's go for that. Got our social policy that we can adopt now. Sovereignty, +1 gold from science buildings. Because of all the various stock exchange bonuses and things, I'm hoping this will be quite a big boost. Yeah, up to +43 per turn now, so that's good. We can potentially get some more research agreements and things. Hopefully pay off Poland too, as we do have quite a large sum now to do just that with. Don't think he's at war with anyone else. Let's see if we can send him after the Huns too. Very cheap to do so. Actually, he does want our last copy of Ivory, which is not ideal. $5 gold per turn, not acceptable. Let's try 7. Let's try 9. There we go, 9 gold per turn. That's probably worth it. Probably going to be the doom of Attila, but that's fine. As long as we can keep Poland and the Dutch busy fighting someone else, I'm fairly happy with that. I do think it's Attila at this stage who's most likely to betray us. And so far the Dutch didn't actually seem at all bothered that we stole their tech. Casimir's completed the Manhattan project, not too surprising. As long as he doesn't use his nukes on us, we're not going to worry too much. If he does declare on us, then we're probably a little bit screwed regardless of whether he has nukes or not, but with that said, we do need to have some kind of defense. Like, we should be able to hold him off to some extent, especially in the very late game when we start to catch him up and hopefully, well, maybe not overtake him in tech, but once we start to catch him up in tech, it might be possible to keep Istanbul alive, even if he does declare on us and attack it. I'm going to say no to this, although, actually, we'll take his gold. What's more, so we're just going to say no. Huns do actually have battleships now, so hopefully that's going to keep the Dutch and the Polish busy. And then we've got replaceable parts, so we can start now moving towards railroad. Don't need to move towards plastics because we're going to get it next turn for free anyway from the Oxford University. Vote coming up in 5 turns. We've already committed our voters, I think. I think we committed all of them. Either way, fairly confident that World Ideology and International Games will both succeed. A city-state just asked us for spices, so we're going to actually turn down the silver and go for those instead. Should get us an extra friend. And at the start of this turn, we've got ourselves a hospital in Iconium, a stadium in Constantinople, and the Oxford University, so that's going to be quite a big boost. Okay, so there are actually 3 different city-states that wanted us to connect spices, so we've got a bit of extra happiness from these guys. In fact, we're probably going to be their allies pretty soon, so that's not bad. Extra food coming from Wellington, and again, extra happiness from another mercantile city-state. 3 tech, we're going to go, of course, for plastics, and we do have 3 free towns that we can now immediately set working towards the research lab. And this is the point where I'm hoping we lay the foundations to seriously catch up in science. But I think we've done enough of this part, so thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed. In the next part, we will hopefully be really starting to claw things back against the AI, and hopefully catching up in tech. Might have seemed like they had an insurmountable lead not too long ago, but I'm pretty confident we can pretty much catch up. They're only 1 or 2 techs ahead of us. Well, not literally, but they're only 1 or 2 steps along the tech tree ahead of us. So as long as we play it smart, I do think we have a chance here. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.